Return to Delphi nearly 6 years later. Gad. I have to say it's a strange feeling, especially given the arrest and conviction and the changes to this bridge, the configuration. November of 2019, I was doing whirlybird wobbles in 40-degree weather, wearing a heavy jacket, just trying to stay on my feet, not fall on my back. And you can see why. Now they've got the new platform bridge. It's roughly 2 feet wider. Got railing, nice solid railing. But why did it stop here? Okay, that would be a legitimate question. Why doesn't it keep going? Well, this is where the scenery is. Look, right here we're already beyond Deer Creek. So very few people venture beyond this point. That's why it was not unusual at all for a bridge guy, Richard Allen, not to be already within frame when Libby took the picture of Abby. And from memory, I think it was, the bridge is like 850, 860 feet. I remember doing a calculation. Abby was roughly 38, 39% of the way across. So she's something like 320, 325 feet out on the bridge. Well, at that point, Alan doesn't know if the girls are going to continue, because most people don't continue, because you're already right here beyond the fish sighting and the stock viewing. Okay, you have to go over here. So there was no reason whatsoever for Alan to venture out before he knew darn sure that the girls were going to continue toward the end. And once they did, once they went beyond probably, another 50 feet or so, then he knew they were going to continue. And so he followed. And we know the tragic rest. You know, when I was here in 2019, there had been some sundial studies, etc., sun angle studies, estimating that the picture of Abby was taken roughly 222, 223. You know, that was reasonable. It ended up being 213. So that's within the margin of error for a study like that. So I don't criticize anyone. However, that 10-minute miss, that error, greatly changes the way this unfolded. Once Alan got on the bridge, he went extremely rapidly, much faster than I realized when I was here in 2019. He probably crossed in 6 minutes or thereabouts. I mean, contrast to myself, granted I was stopping on each platform and taking pictures, but I took probably 20. I guarantee the average, even if you do nothing, is 12-ish. So once he saw that they were beyond halfway and going to the end, he went after them. And I'm sure the girls, once they saw he was behind them, they finished sooner than they otherwise would have. Of course, we know the layout here. You can't really see it now because this is June 2nd, 2025 as I'm filming this. So all this greenery, it didn't look like anything like this when I was here in November. I think as far as viewing this area in terms of what it looked like at the time of the murders, it's most representative in, let's say, late fall to early spring. Like right over there is something called High Bridge Overlook. There's a tributary called Bridge Creek, which I crossed on a log like a Wallenda. You can't see any of that now because it's lush. It's grown up. Same thing over here. Of course, where the tragedy occurred. You can't even see around the corner. But I have to say, I went through the city of Delphi itself briefly, and that looks tremendous given the early or late spring, early summer conditions. It really looks nice. Now here we are. I'm going to give the builders of this new bridge some credit. See how it juts out here? I'm going to give them some credit that this is where the first platform is, right where I'm standing now. Okay, there was probably a configuration that they used to extend this a little bit. So, according to Betsy Blair's testimony, she was doing her exercise. She got to the end there. See if this old camera can zoom in a little bit. See, there's a sign there right at the end, the right side as you approach the bridge. Now, she says that she saw Alan standing on the first platform, which is right where I am right now. And he'd be facing this way, even if he turned back toward her. And she says from this distance, she was able to ascertain his intent, what he was thinking. What did she say? Like he was waiting for somebody? Give me a break. I mean, if I were in the jury, I'd be hard to suppress laughter. I guess that's why I never picked. The prosecution is always scared of me. I mean, from this distance, she can't determine anything other than the general size, shape, and what clothes he's wearing. That was her value to the case. She puts him here at the time in question. But I go back to my journalism background decade. What is it? Who, what, when, where, how, and sometimes why. Yeah, so Betsy Blair provides a lot of that. The Alan was here at the time in question, and it coincides with the earlier sightings by the younger girls at Freedom Bridge. But don't give me this crap that you can tell what he's thinking, that he's waiting for someone, based on standing here this far away. I thought Sarah Carbaugh's testimony was exponentially more valuable. She places him out there on County Road 300. And, you know, apparently the motion sensor camera over on the Mears property, for whatever reason, didn't pick that up. So I don't know why she was belittled or dismissed. I mean, she may have been combative, so what? I would be too, if they're feeding me garbage questions. So yeah, we're just going to continue here. You can see all this distance that Betsy Blair claims she was able to see what Alan was thinking. The prosecution always zaps me during voir dire, and that's because, you know, just give me the 2 or 3 basic things. I'm all yours. I can put the case together from there, but don't give me all this filler. For some reason, these prosecutors always think they need to load up with garbage. This is all totally changed since I was here 2019. They now have a sign saying, basically, it's your own risk. That's what it says here. The kiosk is totally new. It's even got a small solar panel up there. And I have to concede that when I got here today, I was considering walking to the body's location, which I did not do. 2019, Ron Logan was still very much alive. They have these private property signs all over the place. You can see the trail. It leads right there along the top of Deer Creek on this side. But I'm going to honor the sign. I'm running late today. I just attended the U.S. Women's Open Golf Tournament. It ended yesterday. I'm heading back to Florida. I did, however, you can see, I wore my holy shoes with intent to traipse around, perhaps even go down the bank and see how difficult it was to ascend. But I'm not going to do it. Here's a view from this angle. You know, one aspect that was not a major talking point or discussion in 2019, but it became one. There's a view from this side. It became one after Betsy Blair's testimony. Is, let's say she's right around here. Okay, she's doing her 3 loops. She gets to about this point, and somehow she sees Alan. Wait, yeah, even maybe, let's say she's further. I don't know where the bridge starts up here. Who knows how far she went? But even let's say she went up to here. Okay, and there's the first platform on the right. What, 100 and some feet? Yeah, good luck seeing what somebody's thinking from out there. But regardless, let's say she did see him out there, but he didn't stand there when Abby and Libby followed shortly thereafter. So where did he go? Now, a lot of people think, perhaps most people think, that Alan turned and headed back in this direction toward the trailhead, and that Abby and Libby would have seen him somewhere in this stretch. And that's certainly possible. I don't discount that at all. But my thought is, if they did see him, they might have recognized him, you know, as the guy from CVS. It's a small town. The other possibility is, did Alan go down here somewhere? This leads off to the right. Like I said, this wasn't really discussed much in 2019, but you can see it drops off there. Of course, it's not representative because there would be no leaves at that point, but you can see it, it's steep. And the girls, you know, their focus is on the bridge. They're heading this way. So they're not going to notice someone down there. So he could have easily been down this area somewhere and then emerged later and then watched to see what Abby and Libby did. Anyway, that's just one angle I thought I'd bring up. So it's a short visit to Delphi this time. I think I'm going to go see the Abby and Libby Park and maybe go take a quick look at the cemetery. But I really wanted to see the new bridge, excuse me, layout, and especially this area. When I came in 2019, my major intention was to see what was at the end of the bridge. You know, why did they say the girls were trapped? Well, you know, I wish I'd filmed that. It was just an 8 or 10 second dash into the open yard. They made a logical choice by not fleeing, but they were hardly trapped. This time when I came here, my number one goal was to look down this hill just to the right of 501 and see what it looks like. And it's about as I remembered or imagined, is it drops off very quickly right just off the path. Okay, very good. All my best to Delphi, Indiana. I don't know if I'll ever be back.